Good morning, and let me say something that might genuinely surprise you. The medical establishment has spent decades telling seniors to slow down, take it easy, and accept the natural decline that comes with age. But what if I told you that some of the most groundbreaking longevity research of the last 10 years completely contradicts that advice? What if the things keeping you sharp, strong, and independent at 75, 80, even 85 years old are not the things your doctor mentioned at your last checkup, but simple daily habits that most people your age have quietly abandoned? I'm Dr. James Carter, and over the years, I've had the privilege of caring for countless older adults who have taught me something extraordinary. Some people seem to move through their later years with remarkable vitality. They continue driving themselves to appointments, enjoying hobbies they love, remembering important family milestones, and maintaining the freedom to make their own choices. Others struggle much earlier than expected. The difference often isn't expensive supplements, miracle treatments, or complicated medical procedures. More often than not, it comes down to small habits practiced consistently over time. Before we continue, I want to encourage you to stay with me all the way to the end of this video. The final habit we'll discuss may be the most powerful of them all. And surprisingly, it's one that many people rarely hear about during routine medical visits. If you're hoping to preserve your independence, protect your memory, and enjoy the years ahead with confidence, this conversation could make a meaningful difference in your life. And if you're finding value in this channel, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Dr. James Carter Health, and share it with someone you care about. I also invite you to leave a comment below telling me your age and which of these habits you're already practicing. Whether you're 68, 74, 81, or beyond, your experiences matter. This community learns from one another, and I truly enjoy reading your comments. Now, let's begin. The first habit may sound almost too simple to deserve attention, yet it's one of the most overlooked aspects of healthy aging: drinking enough fluids in a thoughtful and consistent way. Many people assume hydration works the same at every stage of life, but as we grow older, our bodies change in important ways. One major change is that the sensation of thirst becomes weaker. You may not feel thirsty even when your body actually needs fluids. At the same time, the kidneys, the organs responsible for filtering waste and helping regulate fluid balance, don't function as efficiently as they once did. This means dehydration can sneak up quietly. Think of your bloodstream as a transportation system carrying oxygen and nutrients to every organ and tissue in your body. When fluid levels drop, even slightly, that transportation network becomes less efficient. Deliveries slow down. The brain receives fewer resources. Muscles tire more easily. Balance and concentration may suffer. Research has suggested that older adults who maintain good hydration tend to experience fewer urinary tract infections, better mental clarity, improved physical performance, and a lower risk of falls. Even mild dehydration can affect memory, attention, and reaction time. Since the brain depends heavily on water to function properly, maintaining hydration becomes especially important later in life. One strategy that many healthy older adults adopt is beginning the day with a glass of water before coffee, tea, or breakfast. Overnight, our bodies naturally lose fluid through breathing and perspiration. Replenishing those fluids early may help support energy levels and mental alertness. Many people also find it helpful to drink fluids regularly throughout the day instead of waiting until they feel thirsty. A small glass with meals and another during the afternoon can make hydration feel manageable rather than overwhelming. Of course, hydration needs vary. Individuals with heart failure, kidney disease, or certain medical conditions should always follow the guidance of their healthcare provider regarding fluid intake. I remember a patient who described feeling as though her thoughts had become cloudy each afternoon. She experienced occasional dizziness when standing, and often blamed it on just getting older. After evaluating her situation, one of the simplest adjustments we made involved improving her daily hydration habits. Several weeks later, she described feeling sharper and steadier. She had more energy and greater confidence moving around her home. Never underestimate the impact of simple changes performed consistently. The next habit involves movement, but perhaps not in the way you might expect. When people hear the phrase strength training, many immediately picture crowded gyms, heavy barbells, and intense workouts. But that's not what I'm talking about. Resistance-based movement simply means asking your muscles to work against some form of challenge. That challenge might involve resistance bands, light hand weights, standing up from a chair repeatedly, wall push-ups, or even carrying grocery bags safely and intentionally. Why does this matter so much? Because aging naturally brings changes to muscle tissue. You may hear healthcare professionals use the term sarcopenia. That's simply the medical word for the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that tends to occur with age. Muscle isn't only important for lifting things. It supports balance, posture, mobility, metabolism, and independence. Strong muscles help you climb stairs, rise from a chair, carry laundry, and recover if you stumble. As we age, muscles become less responsive to the signals that stimulate growth and maintenance. Scientists sometimes refer to this as anabolic resistance. In plain language, it means the body requires a stronger and more consistent message to maintain muscle health. The good news is that muscles remain remarkably adaptable, even later in life. Studies involving adults in their 70s and 80s have demonstrated improvements in strength, balance, and physical function after beginning simple resistance programs just a few times each week. You do not have to become a bodybuilder. You simply have to give your muscles a reason to stay. 2 or 3 sessions each week, lasting 20 to 30 minutes, can be enough to make a meaningful difference. Focus on major muscle groups such as the legs, hips, back, chest, and arms. Always prioritize safety. Start slowly. Use stable support if needed. Work with a physical therapist or qualified trainer if you have concerns. Another important point often overlooked involves timing nutrition alongside exercise. After activity, muscles become more receptive to using dietary protein to repair and strengthen themselves. Pairing resistance exercises with a protein-rich meal or snack may help maximize the benefits. One gentleman I worked with believed his increasing weakness was simply part of aging. He had stopped carrying groceries, avoided stairs whenever possible, and relied more heavily on others. After incorporating gentle resistance exercises into his weekly routine, his confidence gradually returned. He proudly told me that for the first time in years, he unloaded every grocery bag himself. That smile said everything. The third habit often gets dismissed, despite being one of the pillars of healthy aging: maintaining a regular and restorative sleep routine. Sleep isn't merely downtime, it's active maintenance. During sleep, the body repairs tissues, regulates hormones, consolidates memories, and supports immune function. Unfortunately, sleep patterns often change with age. Older adults may find themselves waking more frequently, falling asleep earlier, or struggling to stay asleep through the night. Part of this shift involves melatonin, a hormone that helps regulate the body's internal clock. Production tends to decline over time. Deep sleep, the stage associated with physical restoration, also becomes less abundant. Poor sleep isn't simply frustrating. Research has linked chronic sleep disturbances to problems involving memory, mood, immune function, and overall health. Creating a consistent sleep schedule can be surprisingly powerful. Try going to bed and waking up at approximately the same times each day, including weekends. Keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and comfortable. Limit stimulating activities before bedtime. Many people benefit from turning off televisions, tablets, and smartphones at least an hour before sleep. Instead, consider calming alternatives. Read a relaxing book, listen to gentle music, practice gratitude. Spend a few minutes focusing on slow breathing. One breathing method involves inhaling slowly through the nose, allowing the abdomen to expand, then exhaling gradually. This simple practice activates the body's calming system, helping prepare both mind and body for rest. I often remind patients that better sleep doesn't happen by accident. It's cultivated through routines, and sometimes those routines become the foundation upon which other healthy habits succeed. Before we continue, if you've learned something useful so far, please take a moment to subscribe to Dr. James Carter Health. Every week, my goal is to provide trustworthy, easy-to-understand health information that empowers you to make informed choices. Share this video with a friend, spouse, sibling, or parent who may benefit from these conversations. You never know whose life could be positively influenced by one piece of information heard at exactly the right time. Now let's talk about nutrition, specifically protein. This topic concerns me deeply because misinformation about protein remains widespread among older adults. Many people mistakenly believe they need less protein as they age. In reality, the opposite is often true. Protein provides the building blocks your body uses to maintain muscle, support immune defenses, repair tissues, and produce important enzymes and hormones. As appetite decreases with age, many older adults unintentionally replace protein-rich foods with foods higher in refined carbohydrates because they're easier to prepare or consume. Unfortunately, this shift can contribute to muscle loss and reduced resilience. Imagine trying to renovate a house without enough bricks. Repairs become incomplete. Structures weaken. Eventually, small problems become major ones. Protein works much the same way inside the body. Without sufficient building materials, maintenance suffers. Many experts recommend spreading protein intake throughout the day instead of consuming most of it during a single meal. Including protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner may support muscle preservation more effectively. Examples include eggs, fish, chicken, Greek yogurt, beans, lentils, cottage cheese, tofu, and lean meats. Protein needs vary depending on body size, activity level, and medical conditions, so it's always wise to discuss individualized recommendations with your healthcare provider or registered dietitian. One patient came to see me after family members noticed he'd lost significant weight. Everyone assumed it was simply part of aging, but closer examination revealed that much of the weight loss involved muscle. We adjusted his meals to include more balanced protein throughout the day. Over time, he regained strength and functionality. Perhaps most importantly, he regained confidence. And confidence can change everything. The next habit may surprise some viewers because it doesn't involve food, exercise equipment, or medications. In fact, many people underestimate its importance entirely, yet the science behind it has become impossible to ignore. I'm talking about meaningful social connection. As human beings, we're wired for relationships. From childhood through our later years, our brains and bodies respond powerfully to interaction with other people. Unfortunately, many older adults experience increasing isolation. Retirement changes daily routines. Friends move away. Loved ones pass on. Physical limitations can make social activities more difficult. Over time, loneliness can quietly become part of everyday life. But loneliness isn't simply an emotional experience. It affects physical health. Researchers studying large populations of adults have found that chronic social isolation is associated with an increased risk of illness and even premature death. Some studies have suggested that the health impact of prolonged loneliness may rival other well-known risk factors. Why does this happen? Meaningful social interaction influences stress hormones, immune responses, and even brain activity. When we engage in genuine conversations, laugh together, share stories, solve problems, and feel understood, the brain activates networks involved in memory, emotional regulation, and decision-making. These interactions help keep the mind engaged. Think of your social abilities as another form of exercise. If they go unused for extended periods, they weaken. But when they are practiced regularly, they remain strong. The key word here is meaningful. Passive contact isn't quite the same. Watching television beside another person, without interacting, offers a different experience than discussing a favorite memory over coffee. Scrolling through social media isn't equivalent to hearing someone's voice ask how you're truly doing. Meaningful connection requires participation. It involves listening, responding, laughing, encouraging, sharing concerns, celebrating victories. Sometimes it even involves respectful disagreement. Those moments stimulate the brain in ways that preserve important cognitive functions. One woman I cared for lost her husband after decades of marriage. Understandably, she withdrew from many activities she once loved. Family members noticed she seemed less engaged and increasingly forgetful. Rather than immediately searching for another medication, we explored ways to rebuild connection. She joined a local book discussion group. She scheduled regular phone calls with family members. She volunteered several hours each week in her community. Gradually, her spark returned. Her mood improved. She became more animated. Her family remarked that they felt as though they had gotten part of her back. Social engagement isn't a luxury reserved for extroverts. It's nourishment. Even if you're naturally quiet, maintaining regular human connection can support emotional and cognitive well-being. Perhaps it's meeting a neighbor for a short walk, attending a place of worship, joining a gardening club, participating in volunteer work, calling a friend you've been meaning to reconnect with. Small moments add up. Another powerful strategy involves combining movement with connection. Take a walk with a companion, join a gentle exercise class, garden alongside someone you enjoy. These combinations stimulate both body and mind simultaneously. And now we've reached the habit I asked you to stay for, the one that many people overlook, the one that has the potential to reshape how we think about aging itself. Daily cognitive challenge. Many people assume that protecting brain health means doing crossword puzzles occasionally or reading the newspaper. Those activities certainly have value, but the evidence increasingly points towards something more demanding. The brain thrives on novelty. It responds to challenge. It adapts when asked to do unfamiliar things. As we age, the brain naturally becomes more efficient at routines. Familiar tasks require less effort. This efficiency can be beneficial, but it also means we may gradually stop asking the brain to build new pathways. Think of the brain like a network of roads. The highways you use every day become smooth and efficient, but roads that aren't traveled may begin to deteriorate. Learning something new encourages the construction of additional routes. These new pathways create flexibility and resilience. Healthcare professionals sometimes refer to this resilience as cognitive reserve. Cognitive reserve is the brain's ability to adapt and compensate for age-related changes. People with greater cognitive reserve often maintain function despite the natural changes that occur over time. The encouraging news is that the aging brain remains capable of learning. You are never too old to challenge yourself. You are never too old to develop new skills. You are never too old to surprise yourself. The challenge simply needs to be genuine. Learning a language, taking up painting, playing a musical instrument, trying photography, mastering computer skills, exploring genealogy, learning chess, taking cooking classes focused on unfamiliar cuisines, writing memoirs, practicing calligraphy. The activity itself matters less than the effort involved. Watching someone else perform a skill isn't enough. The magic happens when you struggle through the process yourself, when you make mistakes, when you feel awkward, when you forget and try again. That productive discomfort signals growth. It's the mental equivalent of lifting a weight. A gentleman I once worked with had spent decades in a highly structured profession. After retirement, he settled into predictable routines and noticed increasing frustration with memory lapses. After discussing options, I encouraged him to choose something he'd always wanted to explore. He chose painting. He wasn't naturally talented. He openly admitted that his early attempts looked terrible, but he persisted. Over time, he improved. More importantly, he became excited again. He looked forward to learning. He joined an art group, developed friendships, and discovered a sense of purpose he hadn't anticipated. When reassessed later, he demonstrated encouraging improvements in several aspects of cognitive function. Improvement, not merely maintenance, improvement. At an age when many people mistakenly believe change is no longer possible, I share stories like these because they challenge outdated assumptions. Too often, society speaks about aging as though it represents an inevitable decline with little opportunity for influence. But that perspective ignores something important. Older adults possess remarkable adaptability. The human body changes with age, so does the brain. Yet change does not automatically equal defeat. There is still capacity, still potential, still possibility. The habits we've discussed today aren't about pretending you're 30 years old again. They're not promises of immortality. They aren't shortcuts. Instead, they're practical ways to support the years ahead. Drinking fluids consistently to support clarity and physical function. Building strength through intentional movement. Protecting restorative sleep. Nourishing the body with adequate protein. Cultivating meaningful relationships. Continuing to challenge and expand the mind. These actions work together. Each one reinforces the others. Better sleep supports exercise recovery. Exercise promotes stronger social participation. Social engagement encourages cognitive stimulation. Proper nutrition provides the materials required for repair. Hydration supports every system involved. Healthy aging isn't usually one dramatic decision. It's hundreds of small decisions repeated faithfully. It's choosing to take a short walk, preparing a nourishing meal, calling a friend, turning off the television a little earlier, picking up the guitar you haven't touched in decades, reading a chapter in a language you're learning, filling your water glass, standing up and doing one more repetition than you thought you could. None of these actions may feel extraordinary in the moment, but over months and years, they create extraordinary outcomes. Independence isn't measured only by major milestones. Sometimes it's found in the little things. Remembering appointments without assistance, driving to meet friends, buttoning a shirt comfortably, walking confidently through the grocery store, getting down on the floor to play with grandchildren and standing back up again, cooking your favorite meal, laughing until tears form in your eyes, choosing how you spend your own time. These are the moments that define quality of life, and they matter deeply. I've sat across from many patients who believed there was nothing left they could do. They assumed decline was inevitable, and that their role was simply to accept whatever happened next. Again and again, I've watched them prove themselves wrong. Not because they discovered a miracle, not because they became perfect, but because they started. They chose one habit, then another, then another. Progress didn't happen overnight. There were setbacks, missed days, periods of discouragement. Yet consistency mattered more than perfection. If you're watching this today and wondering whether it's too late to begin, I want to answer you directly. It isn't. Whether you're 70, 75, 82, or 90, there are still opportunities to invest in your future self. Start where you are. Use what you have. Take the next small step. Maybe today that means drinking an extra glass of water. Maybe it means taking a 10-minute walk. Maybe it means adding a source of protein to breakfast. Maybe it means calling someone you've been missing. Maybe it means signing up for that class you've been considering for years. You don't have to change everything at once. You simply have to begin. And before we close, I encourage you to remember something important. This information is educational and intended to help you have informed conversations about your health. Everyone's circumstances are unique. Medical conditions, medications, allergies, and personal history can influence which strategies are appropriate for you. Always consult your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your diet, exercise routine, or treatment plan. Partner with your medical team. Ask questions. Be curious. Advocate for yourself. Your health deserves that attention. Thank you for spending this time with me here on Dr. James Carter Health. If this video encouraged you, taught you something new, or reminded you that aging can still be filled with growth and possibility, please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with someone you love, a parent, spouse, sibling, friend, or neighbor who might benefit from hearing this message. If you haven't already, subscribe to Dr. James Carter Health and turn on notifications so you never miss our future videos. Every week, we're committed to bringing you reliable, easy-to-understand health information designed to help you live not only longer, but better. And now, I'd love to hear from you. How old are you? And which of these habits do you already practice consistently? Which one do you plan to improve starting today? Leave your answer in the comments below because I truly read them, and your experiences inspire others in this community more than you know. Until next time, take care of yourself, be patient with your progress, and remember this: growing older is not the end of your story. There is still strength to build. There are still friendships to nurture. There are still skills to learn. There are still memories waiting to be made. You are worth the effort. You are worth the investment. And it's never too late to take the next step toward a healthier, more vibrant life. I'll see you in the next video.